Hello everyone, Jai Guru. It is good and great to be alive and we are truly blessed that we have the divine grace to be perfectly healthy and wise and wealthy and spiritually joyful and happy. Yes, there are little things which are the reasons we need to eradicate them, remove them from our world of sufferings, questions, doubts. How do we do that? Are our little sessions. What we have done now is, I keep getting the messages. So what we intend to do is what we will do on Thursday. Its intention is to every day we must stay in touch twice a day. There's a beautiful silence within us, powerful silence. The silence is the true nature of the universe. Notice when you are very peaceful, happy, joyful, holding your beloved baby in your hand or your beloved husband or wife in your hand or a beloved lover in your hand, you notice you have a smile in your face is pleasant, you're not frowning at that time, and you're calm and you're silent. Notice also, when you're in sickness state, that fever, maybe a bit of pain, terrible pain, you will howl. But after the initial howling, you quietly, calmly, you're silent. Look at the animals. They all become silent. Look when you go to a majestic scenario outside in the universe. At night, I don't know if you'll have done it. We used to do it often, even now we do it. If you lie down on top of your roof and look out into the sky, and the only light, whether you're in a town or anywhere, generally at that time, you will find only the starlight. Look at the silence of that night. Peaceful, calming. That silence is the power of the consciousness. And once you get in touch with that consciousness, it's the power. It's the power with which the whole universe is created by the Supreme Brahman with Maya. Maya coming in and giving us name, form, and function. And Brahman giving that energy. Maya can't do anything unless it is from Brahman. And Brahman also doesn't do anything. And you know the beauty of it? Brahman is pretty happy whether you're poor or you're suffering. Because Brahman knows that's not who you are. You are the consciousness. Brahman is also least bothered if you're rich and swinging and having great parties and function, because he knows that's not who you are. It's only name and form and function. So what we're planning to do is take on understanding of this journey of the Vedanta to a deeper level, and all of you are highly educated, well-traveled on this path till now. And Thursday, we will give you some anecdotes. We will send you a Google form, which will reach through the WhatsApp, and you can send your questions with a thoughtful, take 2-3 days. Generally, few questions come up as live when we do the sessions. So the questioning is an integral part of the Vedanta. Remember, Shravanam, you listen carefully with eyes open or with eyes closed, and then you should be able to repeat what you've heard. Then you know the question will automatically come. Then Mananam, reflect on it deeply, think, meditate. Automatically the doubts and the questions will come for clarification. And once you have reflection, questions and answers, then you go ahead through deep observing that silence within is dhyanam, meditation. Mindfulness meditation, mindfulness, filling up your mind with this. It is a form of the Vedantic meditation. Buddha also utilized this mindfulness meditation. So, with the questions and answer, what we will do on the Sunday, we will take it on. First, we will deal with those questions, and then we will continue to deal with the topic in hand. I will send you the topics also in advance so that you can reflect on it, do some studies if you like. And you know what? You and I are extremely lucky. We do not realize it, how lucky we are. Just like I was telling you, we're so lucky to be alive and not lying in the bed or paralyzed or a cancer patient. Or that's the suffering of the body. We are neither the body, not the name, not the form. But notice, in addition to the supreme consciousness, Param Atma, Brahman, realization journey that we're taking, we also have the Nama Rupa Bhavara, the name, form and function in good form. And that's the power of the Kriya Yoga. So Vedantic learning gives you Jnanam, gives you Bhakti, gives you Karma, gives you Raja, ways. Kriya Yoga is the form of the Raja through the process of the Sankhya. This is Advaita Vedanta. And here it is Sankhya. Ramanujam gives you the process to purify every cell of your body, your mind, to be calm and see that beautiful glow. You feel it. You come to Sat is, remember, existence. Existence, ocean of existence is you and me. Ocean of existence is my husband, my wife, my children, my parent, my house, my car, my dogs, the animals. The existence has chosen to be me, has chosen to be you. With the help of the consciousness, I taste the world, I perceive the world. Consciousness gives us who we are. With the consciousness, existence gives us who we are, and the consciousness with which we taste the world. And what happened? Sat Chit. The moment we do that, we are in Anandam. Sat Chit Ananda. And that is Ishvara. Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. So today's, in the questions and answers, we shall take it on, and let's go on to start sharing with you. Which is the one. So, this we are getting into the second part. We have a question from Ganesh Yole. Many of you know. He has 3 questions. So Ganesh, if you are on board, what we will do is I'll answer your first question and answer your second and third till the end of the session. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sure, Ganesh. Jai Guru. And
Jai
the
Guru.
answering, Ganesh, is not from me. It's from the Divine Supreme Mother and, of course, gods and the Gurus. Now, Ganesh's question, I'm going to read it out. What is the real form, Swarupa of consciousness? As we say, consciousness alone exists in every living and non-living object. Each object is dissected, will go to the molecule if broken down, and then to atom and the protons and electrons and neutrons. And if we further dissect electrons and protons, we will get light rays, and then light rays have certain vibrations. So can we say consciousness is nothing but vibration and light rays? Very good question. And in fact, what you have touched upon is, you can say, the essence of the Vedanta through your questions. So what is happening here, the moment you're talking about light form, the light rays and the vibrations, Prakriti and Purusha is this universe. So the Maya is coming up as the Prakriti. Prakriti gives us this body, name, form, light. What is light? If you look at the definition of light, it is a certain particle which makes our, because of its reflection from the object, I see the rose. Why? Rose doesn't enter my eye. The light reflects from it through the cornea, through the optical nerve, goes on to the brain neurons, and then it makes the connection. And then how? Western world doesn't know as yet, but the Vedanta talked about it, sends it to the mind because of the reflective consciousness of the consciousness which is all around. So where is this doubt is coming from? The Prakriti and Purusha, we are still linked to it. Consciousness is everything. It is not the light. Light is only a representation of the consciousness through Maya. Light is another representation. So, going into your question of, so can we say that it is so? Now, suffering is because we have tied ourselves with this Prakriti and the Purusha. That's how we are suffering. We have these intense amount of pains and delusions and illusions. If we are connected to this, and as we go into the, every one of the yogic process, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, is nothing else. Everywhere it is talking about. Later on, as you would love to, all right, so how do I know? That is the journey. And how do you know? There is a one beautiful statement in explanation by Shankaracharya, Tyagena, only one, only by renunciation, renunciation, renunciation. Are these three words used by Vivekananda? Basically, most of us will say, come on, what is this? Just because I want to come to the temple or the church or the mosque, or just because I want to be a Vedantist, you want me to throw away all the playing things that I have? You know, all these objects and things. So that renunciation meaning what? Discard them. This is not fair. The beauty is when it does come, it comes with so much of intense feeling from within that you don't miss it. It is not a missing anymore. It just is a very pleasant feeling within. And you notice what is in the Jnana Yoga, what are we saying? Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So that light and the particle, what you're talking about, is actually, it is not there. It is there in the physical world. Yes, it is there. And the physical property of the light, what we talked about, it's just the property of that. So all those are the energy definitions, light, sound, heat, etc. You know, being a science student, that it cannot be destroyed, it cannot be created, it can change from one form to the other. Now, going into that night sky that we talked about, you're lying down on the roof and seeing the beautiful starlit. Now, the only light, sometimes it is difficult living in a town, but in the villages, in the forest, in the mountain top, in the ocean beach, it's distinctly clear. Only light is the starlight. This explanation is beautifully done by Vivekananda in his talk in US and in London. And Paramahansa Ramakrishna used to talk about it. That now, this is the renunciation part of it. That's the time you're enjoying only starlight. Now, the starlight is dimmed because moon comes up. And the moonlight is like the bhakti with karma and jnana and the raja. It is coming in, giving you more light. From where? From within. Where is it? Within. You are hearing me, you're seeing me. How? Because of that consciousness. How do I know I am there? Somebody was asking in the morning, Ganesh, first thing in the morning, bright, chirpy guy, and said, what a beautiful day. And the other guy had a bad day, may have had a fight at home. Either what's so beautiful about it? So he said, try missing it. So understanding this question, it came to my mind suddenly. If you try being in coma, consciousness is so tiny. It is there, so tiny. We don't realize the world. The world vanishes. If I'm in deep sleep, consciousness is there. There was a beautiful conversation between a scientist from England and some Vedantic scientists. It happened in India, Kolkata, in a big Vedic research center. And he was talking about the mind-brain connection and the consciousness. So here, the Vedic scientists asked him, in deep sleep, what is present? So the British scientist said, the only thing present is the brain activity. There is no consciousness. This is the Western theory. And the Vedic scientist, he smiled and he said, do you know, as per Vedanta, the only thing present in deep sleep, in coma, in unconscious state is the consciousness. In deep sleep, the only thing is consciousness. That's how when we wake up, we say, I had a wonderful sleep. That tiny bit carries on, and that is what we call the Turiya state, the fourth state. So let's not deviate from it. Now then the moonlight, and then comes the bright sunlight. When the sun comes, the moon vanishes, the stars vanishes, they're there. But their light is insignificant. And this is what happens really when we sacrifice tending to, just wanting to, just being aware. Do I really need this? It comes automatically. It's like, you know, I always recollect this. When I was young and growing up, we used to love to eat Cadbury chocolate. And my father used to buy one big chocolate, one or two, I don't recollect now. But I remember we used to get 2-3 pieces. And naturally, as children, we were so fond of that milk chocolate. My dream was when I grow up and start earning money, all I'm going to buy is chocolates and chocolates and chocolate. Craving. You would be amazed to hear, I did. I had a cupboard filled with all kind of chocolates, and subsequently as I started traveling around, right now our cupboard is packed with all kind of chocolates. You know something? This is that sunlight is dawn. Suddenly, I don't feel like having it at all. And that's what happens is you so pleasantly with this sacrifice come onto the sunlight is the love for God, love for Jnanam, Aham Brahmasmi, understanding, awareness. I am Atman. Brahman comes in so brightly that you don't feel anymore, you're leaving it. You are now, a beautiful question, you are still the wave. Like a realized master, like Paramahansa, like Buddha, they're still the wave. They're still having a body and a name and a form. But they know they're not this body and not this form. And they know they are the water. It is not correct to say that the waves or oceans have water in it, because recollect, I keep showing it that I can take that glass of water, separate the water, separate the glass. They're two different objects. But when it is in the wave of the ocean, I cannot separate the water from the wave of the ocean. And same thing happens here. The realized master knows each one of the waves are none other than himself, or this water consciousness is the Brahman. With that, we will proceed with the rest of it. So, the Vedantic perspective of the Karma Yoga of the part 2 that we are going, we are not aware of the infinite nature of this nature itself. We are not aware. Because we are not aware, we make this ignorance as the mistake. We forget about our Purnityam. We are complete, but we've forgotten about it. And because we forget, we feel limited. I am only here, I'm sitting on this chair. I'm limited. But if I am not, then I'm everywhere. Anantam Advaitam. I'm not one. I'm not limited to this body. But because of our ignorance, we don't know that. So we feel I'm limited. At the moment I'm limited, I don't like to be limited. I like to expand myself. And so what do? I go out with my 5 senses to the world. And those things I believe would get my limitedness off, like money, like relationship, like children, like partners, like properties, and like various objects of pleasure. We go out and get them. And we keep going out and getting it, and then more and more, and suddenly we realize this is not it, something else. So this ignorance and reaching out into the world, as we go ahead and get them and we bring it, that's called the karma. And we create through desires, getting this object is the karma, and karma is never destroyed. It will go on. It says that the karma always chases you. You'll be amazed to hear, dear devotees, New York, Manhattan is the place of the thing, and it is called Manhattan Chase. Why? Because anybody who stays in Manhattan is always chased by Manhattan. The meaning various shows and activities and things like that. And lots of our professionals, Indians and all that, they keep sharing. They're working 5 days a week and really working, and Saturday and Sunday, they from the work, they're going out and having party and shopping and going from shop to shop and pub to pub and partner to partner. And they're tired. And on Monday, when they go for work, they're more tired than they had. Soon enough, they say, all right, now what? Now what? And this is where the issue is coming up. And as everybody knows, the karma phala is not limited to one lifetime. As per the Vedanta, as per many religions, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, etc., There are lives after lives after life. And every religion talks after this death, there is a life. There is something. So whether it is good or bad would depend what kind of actions we have done. And this is why our gurus keep telling us, Shubh Shubh Bolo, Shubh Shubh Karo. We talked about it earlier and still bringing it into this. Just imagine, they had a wonderful life, so-called, in Manhattan, both of them. Kate Shipp a few weeks before, and Anthony Bourdain, great chef, very successful. Kate Shipp, a great designer, fashion designer. Look at both of them. Look so healthy, beautiful, growing. Both of them, Kate hung herself. Husband came back and found she is hanging herself. Both committed suicide. That means this so-called chasing for those go out and chase and come back is not giving us that what we are searching for. We are saying, you're taking away my playthings, you're telling me to sacrifice. But look at something. When a baby comes home, your baby, you as the wife, you as the mother, you as the father, you as the husband, look, suddenly what happens? You suddenly find those things that you were craving for is not making any meaning anymore. And somehow you want to do everything for the baby. So if there's a baby at home, whole house is going round and round and round on what? Baby, B-A-B-Y. Isn't it? So look, but my intention of bringing these to, and there are lots of it in Pune itself. I don't want to name them. All of you were very familiar. Committed suicide. There are some students came with suicidal tendencies. They got relieved and became okay with us. Subsequently, they became okay, but there was some problem where, whether it was their own self, their home self. Subsequently, when they went out, one of the students, after almost 3.5 years of leaving our school, we came to know the poor girl, she again committed suicide. So these things, this committing suicide or killing ourselves or injury to ourselves, it means there's something that we need, we are not getting it. And spirituality gives us that answer. So dealing with the problems of the karma, ignorance, avidya, desire is the karma, and action is the karma. This is avidya. This is by Shankaracharya. Avidya Kama Karma. He has written it. This is why it is. The karma also have got two, Laukika and Vedika. The karma, when you're doing it for result. I'm in the temple, I'm a priest. I'm working, but my one eye is on the donation box and thinking the money that I collect, I hope I get enough. I'm going to put a roof on my house because rainy season is coming up and it is leaking. Or I have to use this money in addition for my son's school tuition fee. That means this is not selfless karma. The karma has to be selfless. Vedika karma goes ahead and gives us that answer. So desire comes in because I feel incomplete, and desire leads to action. And now, in the paths of the karma, we have one way of spiritualizing one's life is the knowing how the connections of the problems of the life with me. How do I get connected? If I know what is the problem and if I know how to go ahead. So with the Karma Yoga, we are doing Karma Yoga is, if you look carefully, is the only one where it is not individualized. Karma takes you to the people outside. If you look carefully, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, all are done in isolation and with yourself. Karma Yoga is the only one with the people outside. And these are the paradigms of the spiritual life in which all four we are taking on and going ahead. The Bhakti Yoga paradigm, Raja Yoga paradigm, we talked about it earlier. Just to run through that, you must enjoy sacrificing. Must enjoy. How? I don't feel like enjoying. I don't feel like doing everything with the God's name. There is somebody was asking, I forget God during the day. And this is what happens, is why we associate ourselves with this body. Our journey through these four yoga and the practices through the Vedantic knowledge is to progressively take that journey. It's like going out of the house, going through the door, going into the world outside. Just imagine. It's like the frog, famous Vivekananda story, which he talked about it in US, 1893, 11th of September. The frog in the well. He's very happy. He's never been outside. And he's got a family and children and the froglings and tadpoles. And then the frog suddenly comes in, coming from the ocean, and without realizing, falls in the well. And as the bullfrog of the well was sleeping, he opened his eye thinking it must be one of the insects, I should eat it up. And suddenly he said, hey, you're a white colored thing. Where are you coming from? You look like a frog. He said, yes, I'm a frog from the ocean. And the bullfrog just doesn't believe there is something could be outside. And he says, how big is that ocean? He said, very big, you cannot imagine. The bullfrog makes one jump, said, this big. Frog from the ocean smiles. No, the bullfrog makes one jump from this side to that side, and Vivekananda is talking about it. You and I are like the bullfrog in the well. All we have to open the door and go out. The frog from the ocean said, come, I will take you. I'll show you that ocean. Bullfrog said, no, you're a liar. I don't believe you. So we are stuck like that. And because of which our minds have become unsteady, and we follow those path of impurity, telling lies. So those things are all has to come in through the Jnana Yoga paradigm. In the Raja Yoga paradigm, we are focusing the disturbed mind into breathing, follow the breath, meditation, silencing, seeing the light, and going into the Jnana Yoga paradigm, realizing Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam. Now, Karma Yoga actually gives us in today's a very simple, your meditation. Why is the Karma Yoga required? It is the world outside it, everything is karma. Karma, if you recollect, by the original karma is work, and work was equal to force into distance. Remember, we used to calculate in the sciences. It is something with the measurable things like that. But this is not truly karma. Karma, let's say the planets are moving, the stars, the earth is rotating. Is it karma? No. Computer is doing work. It is not karma. Children, babies are doing it. It is not karma. Animals are working. It is not karma. And so going ahead and understanding the Karma Yoga, we go into the next slide. The first, Karma Yoga, the work has to be done by a living object which should understand. Animals are also working, but it is not karma. After the second, it has to be called kartitva, ownership. Somebody should be able to be linked with that work. The third goes into tells us the result of the work, enjoyment or suffering, mostly suffering, has to be there. People say, I don't want to work, I want to sleep, or I want to go down to the mountain and stay in the cave. No, you're still working. How? We'll just come into that. So it is basically When I do true karma, does it mean that I go beyond joy, beyond triumph, beyond suffering? No, it is not so. So understanding now that the fourth is there has to be a moral obligation, fourth point. These are the 5 points given by Swamiji from the Vedanta. Moral obligation has to be there. Good, good, bad, bad, all follow the law. Everybody has to get into it. In this moral dimension, there is a morality, and without freedom of choice, there can be no work. Meaning, supposing somebody has done some work. Let's say you've seen many of the film, somebody has been blackmailed because their wife and kids have been kept with the guy who's blackmailing him and say, you go and kill the president. You kill the president, then I'll release your wife. He's not to be blamed because he's under not personal moral obligation. He's been blackmailed. He doesn't have a freedom of choice. But there has to be a freedom of choice in that. And then comes in the fifth is the cosmic resolve. We have to know, understand, karma can never be erased. It can be filled up. Like supposing I didn't know and I have a lot of suffering in this life, and I realize it today being in the Vedanta class that I must have done some bad work in my last life. So I am, because of which, having this tough time. So I start to do good work. With that good work, I do not erase by the overlapping. By the good works effect, it is like the darkness to brighter light coming in. So Vivekananda says here a beautiful sentence. He says, good, good, bad, bad, all follows the law. He says, there is never a blow which is undeserved. So every one of us, because of this, in the Karma Yoga, in most of the devoted Vedantists, particularly in Ramakrishna Mission, they talked about Atmana Mokshartha Jagat Hitayacha. First karma work is for liberation of my own self. So I do good work, selfless work. And it has to be done. Remember, a little while ago, I talked about Vedic. Selfless, not desiring something that I'm working. I'm working just because I see God in them. I see the action itself is God. I am not doing it because if I do it, then they will say thank you and nice, what a beautiful gift, or what a nice help with the money, or the way you took care of my wound or my fever. Not because of the appreciation, but I just do it. And when I'm working as in the Jnana Yoga concept, I'm working as if because I know I'm conscious of this consciousness, because I am the consciousness, I'm just aware. I'm aware the work is being done through me, but I am not doing the work, just like I eat my food. And thereafter, everything which is happening inside, I have no control literally. The great yogis, Kriyaban yogis like Babaji, etc., they gain that control through once again that existence, Sat, Chit, Ananda, that Sat and the consciousness, Chit, with that they do. That's how we are practicing Vedanta and Kriya. So we maintain both. You will see automatically, as you practice these both, I see tremendous, you will go for years and years and years and years. Body will age. Body is supposed to deteriorate. The fact we are born, we are going to die. But you will live with more or less perfect health. The more you go closer to Babaji, who right now is, conducting this whole show through us. The closer to him you become, Kalpa Yogi, Mahavatar, and you become that consciousness, you become that water. In the bhakti, I'm still desiring, I'm going outside and getting things, but I am doing those going outside and getting things for God. The God is the object that I'm running, and that's the bhakti coming in. And there is something called in the prapatti. Prapatti is you, in the Bhakti Yoga, Paramahansa Ramakrishna says, with one hand you hold God, with the other hand you work. In the prapatti, you work with both hands. So then, this is once again a Sankhya philosophy, Ramanujan philosophy. How do you do that? What about your work? And there is he used to write beautiful songs of the Divine Mother. And he was supposed to be an accountant. He used to forget he's doing his accounting work, and he used to write songs for Divine Mother Kali. And his boss used to say, what about your accounting work? And then he still started writing, and strangely his accounting work started getting done. And this, they say, the mother herself, when you're working with both hands, and there's a beautiful statement by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Kshema Vaham Braham. Here the yoga is not like the yoga that we understand, is Chitta Diksha Vritti Nirodha. Here yoga meaning what you do not have. Krishna is telling Arjuna, when you truly devote and surrender to me, you and I, to our gurus, to our God, and to Divine Mother, then God himself, the Divine Mother herself, the gurus will do our work. Krishna is telling Arjuna, then yoga kshema, the yoga means whatever you have in your mind, in your heart as desire, I shall give it to you. And yoga kshema, kshema is, I will not only give it to you, I'll protect it for you. Nobody dare touches it or robs it. And a little later, I will share with you a similar incident happened. I will share with the slides. And vaham vaham, meaning I will continue to carry it for you on my head. Buddha is talking about these two arrows. This is the suffering. He said, imagine, Buddha is talking about, imagine you're hit by two arrows on the chest. The first arrow strikes, it's painful, and that is what the world is throwing at you and me. And which is why, what is this world is throwing at you and me? It is because of our karma. That karma phala is coming back as the first arrow. But the true suffering and the pain is because of the second arrow. And that is, after the first arrow, the way our mind works, the way I keep on thinking, and this is because of this sickness. Let's say I have terrible disease, cancer. If I have, I say, oh my God, I can't go out, I cannot do this, my life is gone. That is the second arrow. So spirituality takes out of that second arrow. Buddha is saying, I cannot do the first arrow, but I can show you how to erase the second arrow. And this is work as witness, the Jnana Yoga. Krishna is telling, the one who sees no work in work and work in no work, that one truly sees me. How is that? See, Arjuna was saying what? I'm going to go up to the mountain, I'm going to sit down there and meditate. Krishna is saying that too is work. So a Jnani knows that too is work. You say, I'm going to do fasting for now 5 days. That means I'm not doing any work. meaning the fasting is supposed to be, eating is supposed to be a work. I'm looking only at the concept of the eating. I'm not reading my refrigerator. I'm not cooking. I'm not going and shopping and thinking about I'm going to cook this and cook that. But as per Vedanta, that fasting itself also is work. So that work is the agency, because I am the one who is that. And the phala, good or bad, is going to be for me. Going into action and inaction, inaction and action. Let's say a beautiful example is sometimes when you're going in a boat on a river, if you've ever done it, must have done it, all of you, you will see, if you have been doing it and if you had calm and quiet and not in a chatty, peaceful eating habit or something like that, silently sitting, it happens to you so much, you will suddenly feel that you in the boat are stationary. But the trees, the temple, the villages on the bank are moving. You are stationary. Recently, I went to Madras and came back. I was sitting on the window seat and I was looking out from the window as the aircraft came and stood still. They were coming in for the ramp, and the ramp was coming in, extension of the ramp came in to come into attached with the aircraft door. And as I was looking out from the window, it certainly gave me the same feeling. It is actually speaking, being a pilot, I know it is the ramp which is moving. But I got the feeling that the aircraft is moving sideways to that ramp. We call this autokinetic illusion in the pilot's language at night. When you come in at night, coming in for landing, and generally I'm the one in the aircraft who's coming into landing, which is the runway, which is still. But it appears to me that the runway lights are coming up and I'm stationary. There is a monk who, after a long journey from Kashi, Varanasi, had going back to Ramakrishna Mission, and he's writing it down. He says, Velur Mutt, Indian rickshawala, they put you into it, and he got into a rickshaw, and rickshaw was running through that slim lane and a crowded street. The monk, he's not a very senior monk. Brahmachari just became a sannyasi. As you know, after 12 years, they become sannyasi monk from brahmachari of 12 years. He says, I suddenly felt I am still, I am the consciousness, I am not the body or the mind or the rickshaw, and the whole world, including that busy street, is running past me. I am as if stationary. Now, this is what is action and inaction, is what is meant in the Vedanta. Vivekananda is saying, look and work as my God as the poor, my God as the hungry, my God as the ill, and I have highlighted this part, which is difficult for us to perceive, is my God the wicked. We find it difficult to align. We pray for them to change their consciousness, become good, but educate the wicked, feed the hungry, take care of the sick, help the needy, the poor, and do it all because you see God in them. And this is what is Vivekananda saying, worshipping God in all beings. So work for God is the Jnana Yoga concept, in which I see God in everyone. I see Divine Mother in my wife, in my husband, in my children, in my people around me. I know. In Bengali it is said, Tomar kaj tumi koro ma, loke bole ami kori. And this song and the writer I was talking about is Ram Prasad. The meaning of that Bengali word means, your work, mother, you are doing. and people say, I am doing it. So what is happening in that boat work? I am stationary and the land is moving as if. Same way, my senses are telling me, you, Robin Ghosh, are going out and doing the work, and I am doing it, and I have done it, and this is me, and that is me. That's my job. I have done that painting. I have done that writing. Now, it's the Divine Mother's hand through you, as the Nama Rupa Babhuhara, name, form, and action, has completed the work. Whichever work, including your body. Just think, supposing everything in this is happening because of that consciousness, that existence, which is called the nature. That nature, the Brahman, is doing everything through Maya, everything. Imagine, I want to raise my hand. You would say, but I raise my hand. But the Vedanta is saying, no. Imagine from the thought you had raising the hand. Supposing you had the right hemisphere, I'm raising the right hand. So left hemisphere, supposing of my brain, had a stroke and I'm paralyzed. I have to do years of physiotherapy to move my hand, isn't it? So nothing is happening by us. It is everything by the nature. You and I are playing the role. And the moment you and I realize I am the water, I am the consciousness. And how do I realize it? It's the journey. And there are certain ways. We will get on to it. Yuli's question that I actually on those in the last two. So I see God in everyone who comes to me. All my actions is worship. Going into the prapatti, which I talked about, the Sankhya philosophy, is the surrendering, absolute surrender. And Ram Prasad is the one who used to write the songs while there's an accountant. And Krishna is telling Arjuna, Yoga Kshema Vaham Maham. By the way, I don't know if you're aware, must be aware, Life Insurance of India has got this, they've taken it from Bhagavad Gita. They say, like Krishna is telling Arjuna, that yoga, whatever you have in your mind, Shema, I shall give it to you. Yoga Shema, I will carry it for you. Life Insurance, given that as their motto. Go into the Google and find. And this is what I said, the Tulsidas story. You know, Tulsidas is totally devoted, a great devotee and a saint. And Tulsidas used to be visited in a small little hut that was given to him. He used to be visited by lots of rich people. And actually they would bring a lot of gifts and things like that. And they used to live with some robbers. They always got their eyes open and watching. They say, look at this poor guy. He lives in a hut, but everybody brings rich things. Let's go and rob him. And they went to rob him. And when they went, they found this picture, that dude, boy, glowing, but with bow and arrow. It's patrolling outside and watching up and down. And they naturally couldn't go because it is being patrolled. And they went several times in the deep of the night. Same two boys were up and down. And they were surprised in this kind of a thing. Who these boys? At that time, Tulsidas' time, bow and arrow possibly have been quite possible. Next morning, somehow their leader said, let me go and meet him. Come, you all also come. So Tulsidas is a great forgiving person. They went and said, Sire, we seek your forgiveness. Actually, we are robbers. I have come here to tell you, we had this stupid thing, urge to come and rob you last night. But every time we came, we found two very brightly kind of disposed of two young boys with bows and arrows walking up and down. Who are they, sir? And Tulsidas started crying. And you know why he cried? Not because of just the devotion that He says, this is Ram and Lakshmana came to protect. Just because of these goods, he told the robbers what they wanted to come and rob and take it away. They came and told him, and he said, please take everything away from me. I don't want to bother my Lord for a little protection of my goods. And this is the story. This is as per the Vaishnava, this work is called the Leela. Leela of Krishna, and this is the Leela. Everything they say is Radha Krishna's Leela. It is Ram ke Leela, Radha ke Leela. This is how they look at it. So now, there is a monk who used to live in the cave. This is just a little story, anecdote all. He wouldn't go out to beg for food. Every other sannyasi, the Himalayas and all that, or Kaveri, they go out, they have to Narmada beg their food, but this monk, he never used to go out. And when people would come and say, he says, God hamara yaar hai. God mera yaar khilayega. My friend will feed me. And what used to happen in the villagers is to love him a lot because of his divine disposition, must have been very pleasant to be with. They used to bring food. So one day the villagers said, okay, we are going to test him. And that day, they used to bring it at 12 o'clock in the noon, and they didn't bring his food. And they were waiting outside in the forest. They were from the hedge of the forest, they were looking. And around 12ish, this monk came out, he looked around, he didn't see any food, he went back. After about 10-15 minutes, again he came, he looked around, he scratched his head a little bit and he went out. He went back again inside. And third time, around 12:30 or so, he again came, checked, and he went back, and thereafter he didn't come. Evening, 4-5 o'clock, these villagers comes in, and he said, so sire, what happened today? Your yard didn't feed you? Your friend didn't feed you? And this monk, he realized that if the villagers have played the trick, and he started dancing. He started singing that God, today it is your will has happened through them. Other days, I keep craving for food and you give me food through them. Today, it is your will that I should not eat. God, may your word be fulfilled always and ever. And he started singing. This is how the dependency goes in to the practical hints for the followers of the Karma Yoga. Other than the Karma Yoga of all yogas, paths, simply spiritual practices in solitude. Karma Yoga alone has the power to bring the spiritual realization. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And the goal of the Karma Yoga is what we say, Atmano Mokshaya, personal liberation, and Jagat Hitacha, to help the needy, the whole lot. Do all the work of the services of God, considering that the God is dwelling in a Kamar Pukur, and we have the Holy Mother Sharada. She was in her place, she was sitting down, and there is a lady in that ashram was sweeping the floor, and after that she goes, that stick with the jharu, after doing it, she just goes and roughly puts it against the wall in one corner. And she called her and she says, my child, what did you do? You see God in that too. God is in that jharu, that broomstick also. You can't. So you and I need to, in our day-to-day, everything that we touch and do. You're going for a drive. As you start the drive, you say, God, I'm dedicating, devoting this action to you. As you're driving, you say, God, you are doing it. If you're flying, God, you're flying it through me. And as you go and stop there and you say, God, it is your work I've completed. In everything that you do, in everything. Think about all the things that you do. I mean, as per Vedanta, every action, everything. Nothing is possible without that Supreme Brahman and Prakriti. As the Karma Yogi, in the attainment is the purity. We keep talking about it, truth, purity of actions, and establishing truth are the two essence for all the yoga. And you will see automatically it will start to happen to you. You will suddenly realize today's Satyameva Jayate of Mandakya Upanishad is written in Ashok Stamba. You look at all the adults and the children around. Nobody's telling the truth. Very few. I know there are some. Divine grace, the last many decades, 50, 51 years, I don't tell lies. But before that, I used to, because I didn't know the power of the truth. The sacredness of the work, when you go ahead, how we do it will automatically change. Choose the type of work that is in harmony with your nature and the work and the time. And whenever you want to, you may wish to, whatever you're doing, do it well. Do it with perfection. I want to put this, you notice there are some perfectionists. They will put it back properly. Try and do that. That this is the God's work, God wants perfection. I will not come back and take my clothes off and just dump it and let the maidservant pick it up, or my husband or wife pick it up, or children's clothes, I will go and pick it up. Teach them from right now. Fold it properly, put it in the washing machine or put it in the washing place, whichever way you're supposed to do it. So Ganesh, I'm coming into your second question. When we say consciousness is one and it exists in every one of us, how to realize that oneness? We try to realize oneness with our Guru and Divine Mother through bhakti and sadhana and pure love. So, realizing that oneness, Ganesh, if you're there, realizing it, and for everybody else, this is a very powerful question, is the journey, is the process that I'm talking about. But the tips are, as per Vedanta, it is pure love for the awareness that oneness is just the opposite of separatedness. I stand separated. Why? Because I oriented myself, this is me. Where is Robin Ghosh? Here. The I see I is name, form, and function. Robin Ghosh with his body, male, age so-and-so, look so-and-so, and this is the role he's playing. This is Robin Ghosh. And this is Robin Ghosh is dead. No. Robin Ghosh's body is dead. Robin Ghosh is not dead. Robin Ghosh's name. And if Robin Ghosh's name continues to do good work, like Buddha, like Vivekananda, like Jesus Christ, this is what Vivekananda is saying. It is not the birthright of Vivekananda, Jesus, or Buddha. To be Jesus, Buddha, or Vivekananda, it is your right too. So what do we do now? It is through all the four yogic process. Answer for everyone. We have to realize that oneness. That oneness, the moment I'm dealing with, one of the main things which separates you from the others is the body, is the name, or the function in which you say, find fault with people. Stop finding fault. What am I finding fault with? Whose fault? My wife's fault? But that wife is nobody else other than the Divine Mother. How can I find fault with that mother? And if my Divine Mother considers, my wife considers me as the Lord Shiva or the Divine Mother again, how can she find fault with me, who is the Divine Mother or the Lord Shiva? So, how is it in practical life? You're becoming aware through Jnana Yoga that I am the consciousness. I am not this body. Shankaracharya is very famous. I'm not this body, I'm not this name, I'm not the form. Chidananda Rupoham Shivoham Shivoham. Chityoham Buddhoham. Chidananda Rupoham Shivoham Shivoham. It's the famous that song. It's the same thing it's talking about. Now what am I saying? The moment I say water in the glass, that water in the glass is separate. But if I know that the water in the ocean and water in the wave cannot be separated, my consciousness, if it is taken away from me, I am dead. Meaning the body is dead, I am not, I am in the consciousness. But I think I am dead. Robin Ghosh is dead. Now, Robin Ghosh is the consciousness which is happened to be given the name by the role of the Maya with the Brahman, playing the role of the Jiva. Jiva is limited Maya with the consciousness, and Ishvara is infinite Maya and infinite consciousness, both put together is Ishvara, as per Taittiriya Upanishad. In second principles, very good question, Ganesh. This we're talking about it, but I'm identifying it now. How do we do it? All right, okay, Robin Ghosh, but tell me, give me some steps, what to do. I remember Rajiv sir had asked me this question. Okay, all right, I've understood everything is good. What do I have to do? No, it's not doing, it's being. I have to become. I have to be aware. I have to be aware is what? Consciousness. I have to be conscious of what? Simple steps are given, which is called Sadhana Chatushti. Sadhana Chatushti comes after truth and purity. Purity and truth, which we just covered. Sadhana Chatushti is Viveka. Knowing what is real, what is not real. And the moment I know this is not real, jumping the traffic light is not good, I will not jump the traffic light. I know this is not real of the world. I take the second step called Vairag. I am not attracted to it. It is there. It's very nice. I'm there. I'll play the role. I'll play the role with loving, caring, absolute attention, but all the time knowing I am not the doer. It's like the milk can be mixed with the water called samsara. But you churn that milk after making curd, now it becomes butter. Now it floats in the water. You cannot mix it with the water anymore. Though, like the wave, Paramahansa, Buddha, Jesus Christ, it's there in the ocean. The butter is there in the water, but the butter is there, it plays the role, but it is separate. The water in which the lotus flower has come in is there. Lotus is sustaining in that water, in that black loam soil, but it cannot be soiled, either by the water. And this is what is called terms and conditions apply. You know those fine script you have? Viveka Vairaga and then Shata Sampatti. It's called Shama, calmness of mind, exercise, principles, following the meditation, breathing techniques, silencing your mind. That's why I said that huge power of the silence within. We should get connected every day, at least for a budding yogi like all of us, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. For others, I say at least 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. Dhamma, controlling of the urge, sense. I feel like having 2 more chapati. I will take a little bit and I'll say, that's enough for you, champion. And soon enough, urge to eat that 2 more chapati will go away. And I will say, no, thank you very much. I'm happy. Uparati, controlling these urges to go out I'm taking that sensual thing instead of outward. Have you noticed our senses work all outwards? I bring it inwards now. We are chasing outside. From outside, we turn it inside. That's called silencing, being still. The waves in the ocean can become the ocean. What are the waves? Wave has got limited dimension, limited role, limited size and the shape. Some tsunami, some big waves, some major waves, some minor waves, some huge waves, some bubbles and froth can become the ocean. How? By being still. The moment the waves are still, you cannot say this was Robin Gosh waves and that is so-and-so wave. All are merged with the ocean and one with the ocean. What happens then? Wave didn't have the depth. Ocean has the depth of the ocean, 20,000 leagues. And it is from that end of the ocean to this end of the ocean. If I take one mug of water, I cannot say this is this ocean. That Pacific Ocean from here to there, Indian Ocean there to there. I will say I've got Indian Ocean water. I've got holy water. Isn't it? The next question of Ganesh, what about realizing that oneness with other living and non-living things is pure love and compassion is the bridge to realize that oneness? What are the other means? How to realize oneness with non-living things as they do have consciousness, but it is not reflected. So this is where we come back to our first answer with the Prakriti and Purusha, Ganesh. We talked about what is happening is we are dissecting and becoming ourselves separate, and that's how the living or the non-living object is away from me. The moment I'm not limited by this body and the mind and the name and the form, where is the difference? The moment I say that wave, whether it is non-living wave or a living wave, and this wave, which is me, we are one with water. That consciousness is one. It is a, what is it? Awareness. It's a realization. Knowingness. I know it. It is like, a beautiful example comes to my mind. I buy a nice Alfonso mango and I give it to you to eat it. Notice you peel off the skin, you eat the pulp and leave the seed and the skin. I say, you didn't eat your mango? You say, of course I've eaten it. You ate the pulp, the essence. Seeds and skins are left naturally. But what do you say? Sir, that mango was beautiful. I have eaten your mango. It doesn't mean that you have eaten the skin and the seed and the pulp. You've eaten only the pulp. It is conventionally understood that. And this is what is at the application, non-living, living awareness with us. And talk to God. That God in Advaita is none other than you. With your eyes closed, you talk. In the Dvaita, is the Babaji there, the Divine Mother there, the Gurus are there. Talk to them. When? In meditation, in work, in study, in doing things, in talking to anyone, including your husband, wife, children. No, I'm interacting with none other than the God himself. And as you do it, as you practice it, everyone, you will hear God talking to you all the time. Before you do something, you will get a message. Just see this is going to happen. And it will happen. And even today, when I'm continuously getting it for so long, even today I make a mistake sometimes. I made the mistake. Just the other day, what was that? Yes, I got the message. I love to eat red salt, that sandak namak with my food. I got the message, don't put, there is salt in it already. Cook it, already put it. I said, no, he's supposed to be, my mind said, no, he's not supposed to put salt. I put it in my mouth. It became over salty now. I said, you monkey, Robin Ghosh, you didn't listen to God talking through you. So you will find every walk of life, you'll have a beautiful interaction. And this is what you must have read, Conversations with God, the book. And our Vedanta, Western world is also realizing it. It's continuously. Anybody has any question today, now, on live? My request is do either the video form later on or attend the Thursday session, which we're doing it. Reflect on it, because this Vedanta coming in our life is a rare gift. I'm telling you, you and I have been through all kind of life, and suddenly today we realize, everything is so simple and everything is possible. Everything comes under your control, and you is who? You are the consciousness. You are the I am Atman Brahman. Any questions, any doubts from anyone?
Sir, this is Yogesh.
Yes, Yogesh.
I had a question on today's presentation.
Uh-huh.
You had told that karmas, till the time they do not get completed, you have to live through your karma in your current birth and the next births maybe.
Mm-hmm.
When you go into meditation, doesn't our meditation burn these karmas?
Our meditation?
Burn these karmas, nullify them?
Okay. Uh, what am I doing in the meditation? In the meditation, if you reflect, call it dhyanam, what am I doing? I'm, as per Sankhya philosophy of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Raja Yoga, in which I'm stilling my mind. I'm focusing, I'm concentrating. Now, if you look back, Ganesh, you've been going through all our sessions for a long time. If you go back to our Aparokshanubhuti sessions, in which Shankaracharya is explaining, Dhyanam is nothing else but realizing I am the Brahman. When you're doing the breathing, pranayam, in Sankhya philosophy, as per Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you're following the breath. As per Kriya Yoga, you're following the breath. As per Omkar meditation, Hamsa, you're watching your breath, you're listening to the Omkar. But as per Advaita, Vedanta, you are observing Brahman. Now, understanding your question, can you erase your karma? Think so. Where is the karma when you are the Brahman? So now what you're doing, you are becoming Brahman. So now your question is, what about the karma as a jiva? And because of which I'm suffering? Good question, good doubt. Reflect on it. Jesus Christ's throat was chopped off. That is Jesus Christ's karma, jiva karma. But is Jesus Christ dead? Jesus Christ rose again. They carried his body and the head, those of you read it, and part of it I had covered during the Easter time. They had gone and put it into a cave. 2 days later, when Mary came back, found the body is missing, and that cloth is still there. He resurrected himself. That jiva form resurrected, but the Brahman Ishvara form remained. Look at Paramahansa Ramakrishna. In the jiva form, he's being asked 3 days before he left his body. Turiya Maharaj, Hari Maharaj is asking, Thakur, how are you feeling? Early in the morning. Paramahansa Ramakrishna saying, my throat is paining. I can't eat. I can't swallow anything. And he had a throat cancer. Which is that? This is the Jiva form. This is that one which is playing the role, the wave form. But Hari Maharaj said, but Thakur, you are looking as if you are in beautiful bliss. You are glowing, your face is glowing. Imagine, firstly, for Hari Maharaj to say it, he was a young brahmachari, a very terrible thing to say to a cancer patient. What did Paramahansa Ramakrishna do? He laughed. Not the rightly action for a cancer patient who is going to die. He laughed and he said, rascal has caught me. A Bengali, he said, Shala dhore feleche. Rascal has caught me. Meaning what? He's telling you and me that that is separate, this is separate. Karma and the bad karma is on the jiva. But yes, your question is a very powerful point. What do we do in this where we are jiva and we are aspiring yogis? Yes, sir, it does. The moment you become still, and when you reach that silent state, often in the beginning of our part of our sessions years ago, I used to tell you all, there will be a moment when you will be absolutely silent, absolutely blank. Don't hold on to that blankness, because the moment you have blankness, and if you hold on to blankness because you're enjoying blankness, it will be riddled as per the Vedanta with lots of other bombarded with thoughts. Instead of that, plant the seed for what is suffering, opposite of that. That seed will come up with the fruits of erasing those bad karma or overlapping those bad karma. Whichever way we wish to look at it, karma cannot be erased. It has to be. So why did Paramahansa Ramakrishna have throat cancer? It is said that Girish Ghosh's all the karma and many others too, he took it upon himself. He didn't want his devotees to suffer. And Girish Ghosh went ahead and became, before he left, he called Vivekananda, told them, organize 12 sets of that ochre robe, Gauravastra. Vivekananda was a little surprised because there were 11 young boys and girls who had volunteered to be brahmachari sannyasi. But he didn't say anything. Paramahansa Ramakrishna, he gave 11 to the 11 boys. And now this is the time Vivekananda said, sir, what about the 12th one? Paramahansa Ramakrishna said, give it to Girish Ghosh. He was a sansari, and it is said that the Girish Ghosh also himself attained enlightenment. So, going back again, that these practices, what we're doing is to eradicate, overlap the bad karma. Meditation is one of the very strong ways of silencing. Whenever you're breathing in, breathe in all the good things that you would like. Supposing you know I had told lies. You breathe in truth and purity, Mother Saraswati, Viveka Vairaga, and Shama Dama Upurati, Titiksha. Those are the terms apply. Samadhana, Shraddha, and Mumukshatta, Mumukshatta, Mumukshatta. Those are 6 quotation, total 9, 2 plus 6 plus 1. They must be, those terms and conditions should be lived. Breathing in, breathing those things. As you breathe out those garbage that you know, this jiva form Robin Ghosh has. Breathe it out. Breathe in again. When you become still, plant that seed. They all work. Any other doubts?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Akasha Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Vayu Shanti, Agnyaya Shanti, Jalaspataya Shanti, Go Shanti, Vrikshaya Shanti, Uttaradesha Shanti, Dakshinaya Shanti, Pashchimaya Shanti, Purvadesha Shanti. Om Manaha Shanti, Chitta Shanti. May Divine Mother, God and the Guru, as we practice Advaita with Dvaita, with Guru, God, Divine Mother, and Advaita Brahman, as we practice all the 4 yogas, may we be blessed and protected. May every one of our family members be enlightened and be protected for the 7 generations before and after, for us being purified on this life alone. Jai.